Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
And here we go.
Live from the Hollywood foothills of North Carolina, welcome to the Confirmed Epic Podcast, the official podcast of the epicreview.com, thepicreview.com, and proudly presented by Geeks Worldwide Radio Network. I, of course, am the real Brad Bell, and joining me tonight is a very special guest for this bonus episode, not a.k.a. Andrew Stokes, not Jerry Barbecue 17 Reed, not Amos of the Just Being Amos podcast. It is my better half, Miss Abigail, I should say Mrs. Abigail Bell. Welcome back to the Confirmed Epic Podcast, Abby.
Hey.
So what occasion is epic enough to bring you back to the show?
Jaws.
Steven Spielberg's 1975 classic. That's right. For the first time on the Confirmed Epic Podcast, we're going to review / more discuss, because can you really review Jaws as a confirmed epic film? The masterpiece that has scared beachgoers since the 70s.
Doesn't it have 100% on Rotten Tomatoes?
It's like 99 or 100, maybe?
Should have 100.
Maybe it should have 100. Yeah. I'll double check it and see what it is on RT, but I think it may be one of the few films that has 100. I think Lion King has 100.
Yeah. What other movies were we looking at that have 100?
Oh, Beauty and the Beast maybe, or it was just shy of 100.
No.
Yeah, there's not many films that reach perfection, but this is a very special podcast because it's a perfect time for this Jaws discussion, because you and I are getting ready to go where, Abby? Our favorite place in the world?
Polly's Island. And, of course, if you listen to, I guess it was a few podcasts ago, but you were talking about the Pit, Polly's Island Tavern.
Why do you love the Pit so much? I've told the listeners why I do.
I mean, a lot of locals go there. It's really off the beaten path, so it's kind of difficult to get to, difficult to find. You can't see it from the road, but the atmosphere is really chill there. They usually have live music there.
Which is something I failed to mention because I'm not the music person you are. They usually have a band like every Tuesday and Thursday.
Yeah, and we tend to go like 3 to 4 times during this week.
Yeah, at least 3 times. Like I said, the first night for pizza and old fashions, the next 2 times just to eat and enjoy the live music. It's my favorite place to eat in the world as well. We had some epic memories there, such as July 5th, 2015, which we will not get into on this podcast.
That's to not be discussed.
Yeah, we'll maybe save that for a later date on a Confirmed Crap podcast. But we have Jaws on our mind. Because
and I think the next week after that is Shark Week too, so there
exactly.
You go. Mm-hmm.
This is perfect time. And I don't know when I'll release this. I may release it right before we go to the beach, which we're leaving out Saturday. I know we got the Spider-Man Homecoming
tomorrow, which we're excited about.
Yeah, which I tried to get you to podcast on, but your mic arm didn't make it in time, so unfortunately
I have no business being on that podcast.
Yeah, it may be hard to get a word in with a.k.a. Andrew Stokes and Barbecue 17.
Right, that's your thing.
You know Jerry doesn't like Spider-Man.
What?
He loves superheroes,
That was
obviously.
my dad's favorite superhero growing up. The Spider-Man.
My second favorite. Past Batman. He's like 1B. Andrew's favorite. Now, Abby, I have a confession to make live on the air.
Uh-oh.
I just ordered the Mondo Martin Anson Spider-Man Homecoming poster.
Yeah, but the question is, where are you going to put that?
It's not going to go in this room.
Well, obviously, and
we're in the podcasting / superheroes / geek room here in the house.
We have,
our
walls are at capacity. Like, we can't hang any more. Like, so we have the Wonder Woman Mondo poster coming, and then you ordered the Jaws one that came out this week.
That's what I was going to get to. That also got me in a mood for Jaws. So this week, they did a surprise drop, Phantom City created, because they did the vinyl.
Right.
Abby, you were working.
Right.
I was going to just pick up the vinyl for you, but then like 10 minutes later, they tweeted out, 2 Central, we're going to put these posters on sale. And Abby,
and it's so funny.
Tell them why.
Because probably watched Jaws a week ago. We always watch it at the beginning of summer.
Right before we go to the beach,
And
usually.
and then the week we're at the beach too. But there's this one scene in it, and Brad and I were like, God, that would make a really good poster, that one little snapshot of that scene. And lo and
That
behold,
scene is, they're leaving out for sea. You know, you have Hooper and
the
Quint
orca is going out to sea, and they're kind of in the boathouse looking out through the window, and right in front of the window is Jaws. Well,
like a shark jaw.
Yeah, like the skeleton.
Yeah, a jaw like skeleton. So for a shark, and as they're sailing away, it's just kind of this iconic shot. And I'm like, I can't believe they haven't done a Mondo poster of that yet.
And they did. It was so creepy.
It was like a week later.
Yeah.
It really. So they did 2 versions of it. They did 3. One's going to be at San Diego Comic-Con, but they put them on sale at, it would be 3 Eastern. Abby, I was going to see, speaking of Rotten Tomatoes, I was going to go see that Baby Driver movie, which has 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, and review it for the Epic Review, thepicreview.com. But instead, I was like, I'm going to see if I can get this poster for Abby. And I'm like, I know I'm not going to get this poster like I knew I wouldn't, because I'd only ever
because you wanted it.
What?
Because you wanted it too bad.
I wanted it really bad, so I knew I wouldn't get it. And I've only ever gotten one Mondo poster at drop.
It's too hard, because even if it's in your cart, if you don't put your card information in on time, don't you lose it?
Here's how it works. Yeah, if you don't get it, it doesn't matter if it's in your card. It's not like concert tickets or something through Ticketmaster. If you do not get your info in, there is no window. When they're gone, they're gone. And
That's
I think
crazy.
they did 225 of the variant and the reg, but most people go for the reg because it's easier to get. And what happened here was they didn't put the reg on sale to like 302. So everybody clicked on that, and they kind of got screwed out of it. I went straight for the variant because I thought it looked a lot better.
I agree. I thought that was the original.
Yeah, but I got it right away. So that's the second one I've got. The other one
I
was
couldn't believe it. You texted me, and I was like, he is lying.
I wouldn't lie about that.
I know. You'd get my hopes up.
Yeah, I wouldn't get your hopes up like that. The only other one I got at drop was the Francesco Francavilla Star-Lord Guardians of the Galaxy poster, and we ended up selling that. So I was thinking maybe we'll put. Well, first of all, what did you think of that Spider-Man poster?
It's definitely different. I've never seen a poster look like that. It's kind of trippy. It's
the same guy that did the Man of Steel one that I bought you originally, not the one we have.
Oh yeah, the one. Yeah, did we sell that?
We ended up selling it.
Okay.
Yeah, because we have the Ken Taylor one in the living room, but I was thinking maybe put it in the hallway, maybe beside that Office poster.
No.
No. Okay.
No.
Well, we got 3 Mondo. I know this is like we're not rich, believe me, but this is like such first world bullshit problems. We got 3 Mondo posters coming, right? We got the Phantom City Jaws. We had the Latulale Wonder Woman.
Which
That's
I'm
going in the
super excited
bedroom.
about. Yeah.
Yeah, so I got that one for Abby. And then we're going to put the Jaws, the new one, next to the one we have.
Right, because they are the same size.
24 by 36. Now,
And they're both, I think they'll both look good together.
Spider-Man, I don't know. I'm not putting that in
So
my
you
classroom.
have Spider-Man 2 right here.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Well, that is a one sheet, 27 by 40. It has been professionally framed. It's been matted, but more importantly than that, of course, I've told the story before, it's been signed by the great Stan Lee. So that's not going anywhere. We'll find a place for Spider-Man, believe me. Even if it's the bedroom.
No,
maybe.
there's no room in there either.
Yeah. Well, that's a problem for future Brad and future Abby to worry about. I'm just glad I was able to snag one. Push comes to shove. I don't like flipping the posters, but, you could always sell it. You don't want to sell it. You like the poster kind of, don't you?
Yeah, I think it's cool.
And if we like the movie, which I'm sure we are, it would seem based on what people said, then that makes you really like a poster even more.
Exactly. Yep. So when I saw that Wonder Woman poster before we saw the movie, I was kind of like, about it. And then after the movie, I was like, I'm so glad we bought that. Makes me like that poster.
Yeah, because every time you look at these posters, it reminds you of the movie. And this is a love we share. This is something we both love art.
Yeah, we
So,
both love art.
We both love these boutique posters. You like the concert ones. I got you that Dave Matthews one.
Yes. I love collecting concert posters too. So between the movie posters, concert posters, and the little random pieces of art from artists, our walls are full at capacity. I mean,
Yeah,
we need a bigger house.
We need a bigger house just for wall space. Yeah, speaking of we need a bigger house, let's move on to we need a bigger boat and get into our featured discussion, which is Steven Spielberg's 1975 classic, Jaws.
You know the thing about a shark? He's got lifeless eyes, black eyes, like a doll's eye. When he comes at you, doesn't seem to be living until he bites you. And those black eyes roll over wide.
I don't think I had to say spoilers for a movie that came out in 1975. And if you hadn't seen this movie, why are you listening to this podcast? Go out to Amazon. Go on Amazon. I guess you can't go out to Amazon. Go on Amazon.com now and order the Blu-ray, which is a beautiful restoration of this film.
It really is. I could definitely tell a difference.
Yeah, and Abby usually
more
doesn't
vibrant.
say that.
Yeah, usually I can't tell. So that's saying something.
Like that opening scene on the beach that's usually so dark.
Right, I know, and you can see it a lot more clear. Like during that whole bonfire scene and her running out into the ocean, it was kind of, I mean, you really couldn't see much. So
You could see her boobs in this one. That's what you're saying, Abby. Right?
No, you could. That's what you're interested in.
All right, so this is your all-time favorite movie.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I mean, so my grandparents had a beach house growing up. They still do. Grew up going to the beach a lot, and I'm very grateful for that. So I was definitely a beach baby. My favorite animal growing up was dolphins until, I just became more curious about sharks. And my dad actually saw Jaws in the movie theater when he was little, and he said he must have been about 8 years old when it came out. And he just said he left the movie theater completely terrified. But it didn't prevent him from going into the ocean. And, I just have that mentality. I grew up swimming in the ocean, was never really scared of what lurked around me. There's always something swimming with you. That's just the reality of it.
Did this film make you more afraid to go in?
No, I wouldn't say that. I've never encountered a shark that I know of. Sure, you swim with baby sharks, but
In the 40th anniversary of this film, I believe it was the 40th anniversary, 2015, we got to go and see this film on the big screen. You, me,
they showed Jaws in select theaters, and of course we grabbed tickets, and the theater was pretty full.
There wasn't an empty
No,
seat.
there wasn't. We actually got there pretty early, and we were fighting to get seats in there. But I think I sat with you, and then who else went? My mom and
Maybe
Holden?
your sister? I'm not sure.
I think it was Holden. They sat behind us. And
one thing I remember is there's a thing called Drunken Jaws.
That's what I was going to say.
On YouTube.
Because we were laughing at completely inappropriate times because we had just found this video on YouTube and watched it, and it's so stupid. But
the premise is Cooper gets drunk and screws everything up.
Right.
And there's a lot of drunk jokes, a lot of dirty jokes, and just it's really funny. Just go to YouTube, search for
I think it's like
Jaws.
5 years old or something.
The only problem is once you see it, there's certain bits of Jaws.
And it just reminds you of it, and then you're just like
I won't
laughing.
say it ruins it, but it changes it for sure.
No, it adds to it.
Okay, so let's talk about this movie. Spielberg
Right.
We're going to become a legend with movies like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, E.T., Indiana Jones, but this was the first one. So not only was this the movie that put Spielberg on the map, Abby, but this was considered the very first summer blockbuster.
Yes.
So a movie that people in the summertime flock to go see over and over and over before Star Wars.
Well, the thing with this movie is it was way over budget because they originally thought it was going to take 2 months max to film, but they used those mechanical sharks at Martha's Vineyard.
That's where it was filmed.
And a lot of times the mechanical shark wouldn't work, so they went, sometimes days without filming. And so 2 months eventually led into, I don't know, I guess it was almost a year or maybe even longer. So they were way over budget. The cast and crew were all exhausted.
Quint was getting drunk all the time.
Yes, he was getting drunk. Actually, there's the iconic scene where they're on the Orca and they're sitting around the table drinking together.
Which we played in the trailer.
Telling each other about their scars, and then he goes into this whole thing where he was on the USS
Indianapolis.
And
in World
the
War
first
II in the
take they
Pacific.
did the first take they did of that, he was actually super drunk. And the next day he woke up, was really ashamed of his performance, thought he could do better. So he went to Spielberg and he's like, give me one more shot. And that scene, he did it without any cuts. It was all in one take.
Yeah, one take.
And it's, super eerie, super haunting, and it's very good.
We're talking about the lifeless eyes of a shark. And if you go and look at Quint scenes, you can see in certain scenes his eyes are kind of glazed.
Yeah, like he had been drinking.
You can tell definitely he had been drinking.
Mm-hmm.
But what makes this movie so special is those three, the Orca crew.
Yeah,
right?
we had an argument about this, actually, that you posted a survey on your Twitter because
which is
you were
more
like,
iconic, the Orca crew or the Jaws the shark, Bruce the shark, I should say.
I mean, but character-wise, it's those three.
But the shark won. And when
the movie is about the shark, yeah.
When we were doing that, is it though? I think it's more about Sheriff Brody, Roy Schreider. But when we were doing the 1970s icons of cinema Summer Showdown, it came down to Vader, which won easily, but it's freaking Darth Vader versus the shark from Jaws. Mm-hmm. And the shark from Jaws won the first bracket in a runaway.
Yeah.
But let's get back to the film here. So it's the first blockbuster. It is the film that really, besides Alfred Hitchcock and Psycho, Steven Spielberg with Jaws establishes suspense. Because you hardly see the shark, right?
I think that's what makes it more suspenseful, though, is just the fear of the unknown.
And of course, that was because, the
mechanical shark,
the mechanical shark, they're having trouble with it.
I think they had 3 to 4 different sharks, and only one of them still exists.
Which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And who has that shark? Do you know?
It's in some junkyard down in Florida.
I thought it was in a museum or something.
No, it should be, but it's not.
In a junkyard down in Florida?
Yeah, it's displayed.
Speaking of Florida, so they used to have the Jaws ride at Universal.
I know. I missed it.
I missed it as well. It was gone. I went to Universal and they had just shut it down, so I just missed it.
No, I've never been to Disney World, but never Universal.
Universal's better when you're older. When you're younger, if you have kids, Disney's definitely better.
Disney's always better.
But they took out like Back to the Future and they took out the Jaws ride. But you did it on YouTube, right?
I just looked it up because I was curious. I was like, I wonder if this would scare me.
What was it like as someone who had never done the Jaws ride? I mean, did it look cool or did it look too dated? Or
I wouldn't say it was dated. I mean, it's just like you're on a ferry ride and you see the Jaws pop up a few times.
Did they play the music?
No.
Oh, dang.
I don't think so. I don't know. I didn't really examine it, study it. They could have.
Okay, so this film takes place in the fictional town of Amity Island. It's a summer tourist town. They make all their money on the 4th of July. Mm-hmm. So the mayor is hell-bent on keeping the beach open because it's going to kill their local economy if it doesn't stay open. And, Sheriff Brody had just moved there. He was in, New York? Or something like that. And he thought, I'm going to go down here. This is going to be peaceful. And as things play out, the plot of Jaws, Quint gets brought in to help capture the shark. You have Hooper, Richard Dreyfuss come in to be the scientific mind. He's a marine biologist, I guess, who grew up rich and has access to all these different marine biologist tools and whatnot that most people couldn't afford. And it's not just that these performances are so great from this trio, this crew of the Orca. It's that they're so different, the characters, and they all mesh well together. Like, they have chemistry, like, you would see from a TV show when people have a great TV show like Breaking Bad or House of Cards or something, when the people have been acting together for years and years, they have that chemistry from the get-go.
Right.
I know a lot of that's those actors, a lot of that's Spielberg, but
Right.
first of all, we talked about this film being the first summer blockbuster. One of the tropes of a summer blockbuster is that opening scene, that just kind of jaw-dropping, no pun intended, hook, no pun intended again. And we talked about it. We were talking about the quality of the Blu-ray, but, you know, you have teenagers out drinking, partying, the girl goes off skinny dipping. I mean, one of the most iconic scenes in all of cinema, when the shark gets this girl and...
But you don't see the shark.
You don't see the shark. No, you don't.
It has that ominous music.
Yeah. And, of course, you don't see the boobs in the standard definition, but you do in the Blu-ray. And they actually went by frame by frame by frame, and they restored every bit of the original film cells. And Spielberg, he watched them do every bit of it, because this is what catapulted him. This is what launched his career.
Yeah.
Nobody knew who Steven Spielberg was up until Jaws came out, and then Indiana Jones, and then the rest is history. All right, but think of something like, I hate to bring it up, The Dark Knight. What hooks you into that? Because that's my favorite movie. We're talking about your favorite movie. That bank robbery scene with the Joker. That is a just damn scene. Like, this is something special. This is something different. And that's something that a lot of blockbusters, summer blockbusters, have done since. And the reason they do it is because the precedent was set with that opening scene in Jaws. So, of the trio, Abby, who's your favorite? The Orca crew.
Oh my God, that's so hard to answer. I like all of them, but probably Chief Brody. But then I love Hooper too. I don't know.
Hooper is my favorite.
Yeah, I figured he was.
It's not just cause of drunken Jaws. I don't know. I like
Richard
He's
Dreyfuss.
kind of asshole-ish, but I mean, he comes across as an academic, and Richard Dreyfuss would go on to star in Close Encounters of the Third Kind as well. Another masterpiece by Steven Spielberg. But this film establishes suspense. It establishes chemistry of these core three. It gives you that first epic opening scene hook that we see in a summer blockbuster. And you can pick through this film and pick any iconic line and shot, and you can argue which one is the most or which one is not. But I think that beach scene is when you're like, this is something different. This is something special.
Which beach scene are you talking about?
Not the beginning. The beginning, sure.
You're
but I'm
talking about
when
the kid is on the raft.
Yeah.
Yeah. The way, so when this whole, the shark attacks the kid in the ocean and they're all scrambling to get out. But as this attack is happening, the camera kind of goes from the beach and zooms in on Chief Brody's face, and just the action of the camera, just, it's cool. I don't think it was ever done before. My mom points that out all the time.
Yeah, it's weird because it creates more suspense. You're seeing you're looking at Brody directly, but you're also seeing his point of view.
And then before the attack, it shows them playing in the water. Then somebody will walk by the screen and it will show Chief Brody's face looking in the water.
And that builds suspense because you're like, okay, in that split second that somebody walks across,
right,
what the hell's going to happen?
Yeah.
Because this whole town is on edge for this 4th of July holiday. And they do something that has also become a trope in horror movies. The dog is in danger.
Oh, I hate that.
Now, we both love dogs. I've got 3 dogs, Cookie, Sadie, and Penny. 2 of them are in here with us podcasting. But, Abby, you can watch, you're
Pippin.
guilty of this more than anybody. You can watch somebody get chopped up in the bits by
And be
Michael
like, fine.
Myers.
Right.
But when he kills the German Shepherd or
Oh,
something,
God, no.
you freak out.
I can't take it.
And
No.
it's just, there's just something so innocent about an animal. But again, this is another animal killing a dog. But still.
Yeah. I can't watch movies where animals get hurt or abused.
But this
or
is
anything.
your favorite movie. And doesn't the dog get
It doesn't
eaten by
show
Jaws?
but it doesn't show it. It just, the dog disappears and the guy on the beach is like, Pippin, and
And then doesn't a kid
A
get
frisbee, yeah.
He gets eaten too, right?
Yeah, Aiden.
Eaten. He gets
eaten.
eaten. All right, he gets eaten as well. And it's like, who cares about the kid? They ate the damn dog.
Not the dog. Take the kid.
And as right after that's when Hooper comes in, and they've started the shark catching contest.
Well, it's this whole thing. Yeah, that was the second attack, because the first attack, of course, the mayor was trying to say it was a boating accident.
That was no boating accident.
No. So when this attack happens, the mom, of course, gets so upset because she realizes
this is the only scene I don't like in this movie.
That it was the second attack, and it could have been prevented had the information been out there.
That it was a shark.
Right. But Chief Brody was pressured into saying that it was a boating accident, or to, not alert the public that this might have been a shark attack and the waters aren't safe. And yeah, I don't really like that scene.
The widow comes up. Not the widow. I shouldn't say the widow.
Yeah.
The mother who just lost a son, and so they just they're about to cut this shark open to see if the kid's in there. And she just comes up and bitch slaps Sheriff Brody, and it's like, I don't know, there's something about that scene. It's otherwise. I mean, it's a perfect movie still, but that scene just seems like it's from a different film. When she just, I understand.
I don't know about that.
I understand why she slaps him and whatnot. The motivation's clear, but it was just the time and the place that it happens. I don't know. I guess they wanted to make a public example. You would think, like, if you were telling someone about this movie who had never seen Jaws, hopefully you're not listening to this if you haven't, and you would think, man, this sounds boring as shit, because the shark doesn't show up to the end. There's a lot of talking, and there's a lot of character building, right? I mean, they build up the characters so that way when there's real stakes at the end, when they finally do come head to head, face to face, face to fin, if you will, with the shark.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's a slow burn, but they give you enough in between the character building and whatnot to keep you invested for the big payoff at the end.
Right.
Which is a great action scene, an action set piece at the end of the film.
Yeah, something interesting about how Roy Scheider got the lead was him and Spielberg were actually at the same party in Hollywood, and Spielberg was talking to either another director or producer about making a movie about this big shark wreaking havoc on an island.
It's not a shark.
And Roy overheard it and became enthralled with it and approached Spielberg, and that's actually how he ended up being casted as the lead in Jaws.
I can't believe that all of them are dead now. I mean, obviously Quint died
Roy,
not long after.
No,
but,
Richard Dreyfuss is still alive.
I mean, no, that's what I was about to say. Besides Richard Dreyfuss,
yeah,
who hasn't done anything since that Mr. Holland's opus.
So I think, yeah, Shaw died 2 years after the movie came out, and then Roy died
in
2008
or something.
No, 2008.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's get to that climax at the end of the film. A lot of suspense is built on the film. I mean, I was reading. I subscribed to Empire magazine, much to Abby's chagrin.
Hey, Jeff Bridges was supposed to play Hooper.
You're kidding.
Richard Dreyfuss wasn't the first choice.
Oh man, Jeff
John
Bridges
Voight,
is great.
Timothy Bottoms and Jeff Bridges were all initially approached.
I'm glad they picked Richard Dreyfuss, though.
Yeah, that was perfect.
It
worked out.
They got the man that they needed. But I subscribed to Empire magazine. They did an issue that's right behind you, Abby. It was the 101 most iconic film scenes, and the scene they picked from Jaws was when he's telling the story about, as we mentioned earlier.
Where it took him one take to finish.
Yeah, the USS Indianapolis. And if you would have told me that was the most iconic scene from Jaws before you told me the story about how he did it in one take, I'd have been like, that's bullshit. Probably the opening scene is, or the beach scene with the dog.
Yeah, the beach scene's pretty good.
But now that I know that you fill me in on that inside information, I agree with Empire. That's probably the best scene, especially from an acting point of view of that film. But at the end of this film, they build more suspense. They encounter the shark. You know, we watch this movie every year, but it seems like I don't realize to the tail end that, oh crap, Captain Quint's gonna die. I don't forget it, but it just like dawns on me.
That's funny because
crap.
there was like a few years where I went without watching it.
Really?
Not recently, obviously, because I've been a huge fan. And then you forget that he dies. He gets eaten by the shark.
Yeah, and that's the scene probably where the shark looks the most fake. He's just laying there going, ah, ah. I mean, it doesn't look terrible.
It was the 70s.
It was, for that time, it was great.
Yeah.
But just when they updated all in HD. But speaking of looking great, this is something I did not know until you told me, being the Jaws aficionado that you are.
Mm-hmm.
So when they drop Hooper down into the tank.
Yes.
And we see a real shark there, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did that come to be?
There was a couple that filmed in Australia. They would go into cages and film these sharks. Of course, great whites. There's a ton in Australia. So they would go off and what actually happened was Spielberg wanted a video of a real shark going after a cage or swimming around it.
And this is the 70s, so this predates Shark Week.
Yes, so the problem with that is they actually sent him a video. It had a normal-sized man in it, and the shark just didn't look like it was Jaws. It wasn't big enough, even though it was a huge great white. But compared to average-sized man, it didn't look like the proportions that Jaws was supposed to be. So they ended up actually getting a man that was shorter in stature, a lot shorter. I think he was probably like 4 feet tall.
He was the Mexican guy from Eastbound and Down, right? Season 2?
Yeah, that was him.
All
no.
Right.
And they put him in the cage, and another shark came by, and it just looked so much bigger in proportion to the smaller man, obviously.
But you can really tell in the film when it's the real shark and when it's not.
Well, yeah.
It's not like jarring, but you can tell.
Well, yeah, just the movement and everything. The mechanical shark weighed a ton.
Yeah.
An actual ton.
It literally weighed 2,000 pounds?
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
You know why they filmed at Martha's Vineyard?
No, why?
Because they could go further out from the coast, and there would be sandbars out there, so they could actually put the mechanical shark in the water, and you couldn't see the land, and the boat would be out there, and so they could have the Jaws come swim up and, swim up out of the water, and it would only be like 30 feet below.
Another thing, every time I watch this film that I kind of forget is that, so Quint bites the dust, and he's gone. Hooper's down in the cage, so he's like presumed dead by Sheriff Brody. And it really comes down to this shark versus Sheriff
Chief
Brody.
Yeah,
Chief Brody, Sheriff Brody, whatever you want to say. Mono e shark. And just, it's so cool, that scene when they're trying to track the shark and they put the kegs or barrels or buoys or whatever you want to say on the shark's back, which is obvious what? It's just like what you have.
My ornament, yeah.
Your Hallmark ornament. So let's tell this story real quick. So
we had seen
every year we get this keepsake ornament, right? You get
for
one
for Christmas, but we get it
one
around like Thanksgiving.
Usually, yeah. Or Halloween,
'cause that's normal
at the earliest. So we saw it in July.
No, I think it was August.
Okay, it was
because it was close to my birthday, and you were like, "No."
I think it was 2012.
Yeah.
We go in our local Hallmark, and I'm like, "Oh my God, Abby! They have a Jaws ornament." And you hit it, and it goes dun 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 dun. All right, the iconic theme. I was like, "You have to have this, Abby." And you're like, let's get it. I'm like, no, it's this way too early. And so we
and then it's sold out everywhere.
Go back like November 1st. I go to all these Hallmarks, call all these Hallmarks, sold out everywhere. Ended up having to go buy this thing at some Hallmark specialty store
for like $50. Twice the amount that it was worth.
More than twice. $50 for this thing, which I'm glad we got it. It's one of the coolest Christmas ornaments.
It is the coolest.
Arguably the coolest Christmas ornament that we have. And I think that's one of the things that's made Jaws stand the test of time is it's not a merchandising juggernaut like Star Wars or something, but it always comes up. It's always in the public consciousness, especially this time of year, summertime, when people are going to the beach.
because people get attacked by sharks. It's not common.
But don't you think that would make them hate this film?
Well, and Spielberg kind of regretted it because it paints a really bad picture of sharks.
I would say, yeah.
Well,
Didn't a bunch of people try to start hunting and killing sharks after this, and he felt bad?
Sharks are killed at an astronomical amount. Like, it's crazy how many sharks per year are killed. And it's bad for our oceans.
Yeah.
And he actually came out and said that he feels like he's partially responsible for that. Because
Jaws.
another
thing, Jaws is based on a book too.
Yeah, and the author is actually in the movie.
I know, he's the reporter, right?
He's the reporter on the beach. Yep, on the 4th of July.
And until you told me that, I knew it was based on a book. I'd never read it. Have you read the book?
No.
You should read the book.
I feel ashamed for saying that, but I haven't.
That's what we should. Well, I guess it's too late to get it for the beach now.
You did buy me Meg.
Yeah.
Isn't that being made into a movie?
It's supposed to be Jurassic Shark, which kind of gets me to a question I wanted to ask. Why do you think there hasn't, and I don't think it's ever going to happen, but why do you think there hasn't been a shark movie as good as Jaws since 1975? Is it just that movie was just so good, set so many industry standards? Because we saw The Shallows last year. Really good movie.
It was good.
It was just good, though.
Right.
It wasn't, maybe great, but it wasn't epic or anything. I saw 47 meters down 2 days ago.
Yeah, and there's a lot of hokey shark movies.
I love 47 meters down, though.
No, I'm not talking about that one. I've never seen that one. I want to see it now because you said it was good.
I don't want to go. This is going to be stupid.
I thought it was going to be hokey.
Yeah,
honestly, I thought it was going to be hokey.
It reminded me a lot of Jaws in the sense that... I know that's like blasphemy. I get that. But it reminded me of Jaws in the way that they built suspense, and it was more of, instead of being afraid of the shark like in The Shallows, it's like the situation that these two sisters find themselves in. And God, that movie was so good. See, I went into this movie as, all right, this is going to be a fun, just bullcrap summer movie, completely forgettable. It was originally going to be like a video on demand movie, not even go to theaters. Then a studio screened it and they're like, whoa, this is too good to just go video on demand. Like, this needs to be in the theater. And I gave it a great on the Epic Review. I love this movie. That being said, it doesn't come close to Jaws. I liked it better than The Shallows, though.
Really?
Will there ever be like I'm not even going to say shark movie, because I know there won't. Will there ever be a ocean, a underwater horror movie that rivals Jaws? You say no, probably, right?
I really don't think so, no.
Why, though? Why do you think that's the case?
It's just cinema magic. I don't know. It seems like everything came together for this movie.
I know, but it would be like, okay, Star Wars comes out. There's never going to be another good science fiction fantasy. I should say science fantasy. And there have been. Now, nothing's been Star Wars, but you've had things that, you had like The Fifth Element. You had nothing's lived up to Star Wars. I guess I'm kind of making the point. I guess when something's so good like that, it's hard to rival it.
And you brought up a question the other day where you were like, do you think they'll ever remake Jaws? And I said, I hope not.
No, there's some movies I think that are untouchable. Jaws, Back to the Future.
Yes.
I would have said Star Wars, but they're not remaking that. They're just continuing the saga. So that's completely different. Any other ones like off the top of your head where it's like, they can't ever remake this movie. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. They can't. I could see them remaking that, though. They shouldn't.
No.
But God, they've remade some of these movies and it's been terrible, like The Poltergeist. That's a great Steven Spielberg. Have you ever seen that movie? God, we need to watch that. We need to watch that this Halloween. That's another great Steven Spielberg movie that they tried to remake, and it just ended up being like horse crap. I think if it's a movie directed by a great like that, like a Francis Ford Coppola, a Steven Spielberg, a George Lucas, those type of iconic directors, and Alfred Hitchcock, the guy that did 2001: A Space Odyssey, Clockwork Orange, The Shining. Oh my God, Abby, I'm blanking on his name. Stanley Kubrick, that's his name. Like, if those movies should just be considered untouchables, and Jaws should be the the exact same way. But I think another thing that keeps Jaws like in the public consciousness is every summer people get afraid of sharks when they go to the beach. And when people see a shark, they're like, "Oh, Jaws."
Well, when you're swimming in the ocean, there's always a lurking
Just
fear
dread.
of the unknown because, like the Atlantic Ocean, along the Carolinas, you can't see.
Yeah, 'cause it looks like shit in the water.
Oh, well,
Especially
it's just
if you
too
go
dark.
to Myrtle Beach.
Yeah. Ugh.
Abby.
Sorry.
We got a lot of listeners of this podcast that love Myrtle Beach.
Oh my God.
All right, now, we just lost those 5 listeners. Now, Abby, what about this thing that Mondo does, the Jaws on the water? How cool is that?
Oh God, I would love to do that.
So they go to coastal towns, and they tour.
this one is in Austin.
Yeah, the Gulf, right?
Oh.
So they do it on the Gulf. But they went to other places too.
They're building an Alamo Theater in Raleigh.
Yeah, but they're not going to do Jaws on the water in Raleigh.
They have Jordan Lake in Raleigh.
True. I mean, I guess it doesn't have to be coastal. It could
No.
be. You know what was cool? You and I both look at the group Mondo Trader and Mondo Market. Well, you look at my Facebook to look at Mondo Marketplace. And this guy did his own Jaws on the water. So they swam on 4th of July. They swam, they drank, and he had a nice pool, and he put like a projection screen up, and they were sitting by the pool. They were sitting in the pool in floats, drinking their beer, watching Jaws.
That's cool.
Yeah, if I ever have a pool, that's something I would do.
Yeah.
But this thing is so cool, Abby. They put you in
and then they give you the float that has the Jaws.
It's got like artwork on it.
Yeah, and then they also give you
which
we collect. Yeah.
A pint glass.
How cool.
I know.
I would. Oh God, yeah, that would be a dream just to do that.
But it's like stuff like that just keeps the magic, the horror, the suspense.
That would be so much fun.
Of Jaws
we
alive.
go tubing in Polly's all the time.
I hate tubing. See, I don't know if I would want to do that though. I don't know if I could. I don't know.
There's the irrational fear of a shark, like swimming behind you in the pool. I grew up a swimmer. Some people have that irrational fear, and when I was little, I was a swimmer, year-round swimmer. Yeah. Swim competitively.
You were? I didn't know that. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, up until like high school, and some people just have that irrational fear of, kind of like a snake being in the toilet.
Yeah, which that can happen.
That can happen. I think that has happened. I don't know.
So, I don't know what more we can say about Jaws. I mean, we've gushed about this movie. It's your favorite movie. It's in my top 20 of all time.
Oh my God.
Now, I proposed this thing for Andrew Stokes, and so we want to do discussion topics on the podcast as well, not just movie reviews. Well, now there's a crap ton of good movies out, so it's easy to do movie reviews, but when it's like dead season, like January, February, I want to do like top 25 favorite movies of all time, and maybe do like 10 5 on the shows. And I think Jaws would definitely be in my top 20. It's not my top 10 yet.
Excuse me?
I mean, if it is, it's like 10 or 11. Now, I'm not talking about as far as... So, Empire did the top 100 movies of all time. I think they had Jaws at 8.
Yeah, they did.
Which is the movies that... I mean, it's semantics. All the movies they had above it were like, okay, I can see that, but you could easily argue Jaws is one.
Interchange them, yeah.
Yeah, and they do this every year, so it's something that they interchange a lot. You need to read that magazine, Abby.
Why?
That's just cool. Do you like magazines? Because they're dying out.
Yeah, I used to. Not anymore. In high school, I would read like People and 17.
On the shitter?
No.
You would actually just, but
yeah.
I'm going to take those Empires to Polly's. I'm going to read magazines.
Well, that's what I used to do at the beach, is take a bunch of magazines.
Well, I mean, that's not all I'm going to read. I'm going to read comics, too. What are you going to read at Polly's? Because you read a crap ton anyway of actual books, but you usually read 2 books when we're down there.
Yeah, so I picked up one book from the author of Big Little Lies.
Colin Moriarty. No, it's not. What's his name? It's not Colin.
I think it's like Leanne.
Yeah, is it a female?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what we need to review next when we have you on the podcast. Is Big Little Lies.
I know.
God, I love that show.
Yeah.
And we talked about that. So last podcast we had you on for Wonder Woman. You said you'd be on for Jaws and maybe Big Little Lies. So you've done 2 of the 3. So we'll get you on for Big Little Lies.
Or if you have a music podcast.
Yeah. You need to go over to Sight and Sound, Jay Williams, for that. Now, this is a little better tonight, Abby, right? You have your own microphone.
Yeah.
How was that?
And we're not outside.
No, this is actually a more like studio environment we're in. But Jaws confirmed epic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't give it anything less than epic. If you haven't checked out the Blu-ray, go pick it up. It's like $8 on Amazon. Just if you have a HD TV and a Blu-ray player, PlayStation 3 or 4, whatever, you'll be blown away in the difference between the DVD and the Blu-ray. I can't wait for the 4K, which I know they'll do. Now, Abby, are you gonna watch Jaws at Polly's?
Of course, it's a tradition. You have to watch Jaws at Polly's.
It's going to be on that little TV, and it's going to be your mom's... Now, I'm not trying to get on your mom's DVD copy, but it's going to be hard to go back.
Yeah, that's true. I know. I really want her to watch ours just to see the difference. And another thing is I usually end up falling asleep.
Well, that's because you're usually,
yeah.
You're
on vacation.
You're like Captain Quint by that point. Your eyes are a little glassy, and your eyes are dead inside like a shark, like a doll's eyes. But I think that's just about going to wrap it up for this bonus edition of the Confirmed Epic Podcast Special 2017 edition. Abby, where can people find more of you on the internet?
I'm really not on the internet.
You want to shout out your Twitter?
Nah.
Okay, if you look hard enough at my friends list, you might can find Abby's Twitter. As for me, you can find me at Geeks Worldwide, thegww.com. This has been a proud broadcast of the Geeks Worldwide Radio Network. Find me at the Epic Review, thepicreview.com. Go check out our new YouTube stuff. We're not mainly a YouTube group or channel. We're a podcast first and foremost, but we've been trying to put out some YouTube content. So go to youtube.com and check out, search Confirmed Epic Podcast, subscribe so we can get that vanity URL. We got a lot of content coming out. I'm not going to be doing much next week because we're going to be on vacation, but we got this podcast that's going to hit. We got the Transformers last night that Timothy Belmont donated.
Can we stop with that Transformers stuff?
What do you mean?
It's awful.
You have not seen the movie.
I saw the first one.
The first one's great.
Well, no, I think you made me watch the second one, too.
Yeah, in IMAX. Remember?
God, that was awful.
Yeah, I told Andrew
I didn't grow up. I didn't grow up watching Transformers.
I didn't either. I mean, it was before it was like the mid 80s.
It's just too much.
All right. This isn't a Transform. I've reviewed that movie 4 times.
You just talk about it and then you try to order on Amazon.
I've tried to order this movie and we brought this up.
Who pays $30 for that?
Abby, it'll probably be more like 26.
No, that's still
how
too
much 4K Blu-rays cost.
That's too much. Why do you want that? You're not even gonna watch it.
Yes, I will.
It's awful.
I've watched all my 4K Blu-rays except for Snitch, and I'm gonna watch that. What?
Nothing.
All right, so
I'll
go to
cancel
Amazon.com and pre-order Transformers The Last Night now so that you can get it whenever Paramount announces the release date. If you have a 4K TV, make sure you go to Amazon.com and order Transformers The Last Night.
Or do yourself a favor and don't do that.
4K, or do yourself a favor and let your wife cancel
it.
the pre-order. Here's a word of advice. Never give your significant other your Amazon password. One of the worst mistakes you can make.
You can change it
in your life. I'm too lazy to change. And then
I know.
have to remember a new password, and that's a lot of work, Abby. So we're both excited to go to the beach, but you'll be getting a Spider-Man Homecoming podcast. You'll be getting Transformers. Andrew bashing the Last Night. Thanks to Timothy Belmont for donating that $10. so that we could have Andrew go through that excruciating cinema experience. And of course, you'll be getting this one here. So, Abby, I think that's just about going to wrap up this bonus edition of the Confirmed Epic podcast. From the Hollywood foothills of North Carolina, for Abigail Curtis Bell, I am the real Brad Bell, and we are out.
That's all I have to say about that.
This has been a production of the GWW Radio Network. Please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. Also, check out Geeks Worldwide at thegww.com for all the latest news, reviews, and opinions on video games, comics, movies, TV, cosplay, and more. Geeks Assemble!
Roll out.